So one thing I thought that would be really helpful for you guys is to break down Aurora, since it is so massive, into just the different, kind of the biggest or most commonly known areas within Aurora. So I put this down to 4 kind of different areas, starting with number 1, which is going to be Southeast Aurora. So Southeast Aurora is where I've spent the most time of these 4 areas, and that's because most recently I just had a listing in this area in Southshore. Southshore blew me away. I'd been in the area before and driven, kind of through this part of the Aurora area. But man, when I started going here on a consistent basis, I just became more and more in love with this part of Aurora. And that's for a few different reasons that I'll share. But first off, just how many great parks and trails, the availability to go right onto Aurora Reservoir, just right out your back door, and it's the awesome master plan community. So I'm not gonna go deep into that at this time, but if you guys want, I'll have a link for a video up above here, all about Southshore if you want to learn a little bit more about that specific part of Aurora. But in addition to Southshore, when talking again about Southeast Aurora, you've got Southshore, but you also have Tallyn's Reach and you have Beacon Point. These are very, very close to Southshore, and these are all in that coveted Cherry Creek School District. So that was Southeast. Now let's just talk about North Aurora. So North Aurora is also sometimes known as the Fitzsimmons part of Aurora, or the Fitzsimmons area. And this is really close to the CU Anschutz Medical Center. Definitely have more opportunities in this part of Aurora for rental and investment property opportunities. You'll find a lot of both medium and large size multifamily properties. So for apartments, you might find some like 200 to 300 unit complexes in this part of Aurora. So lots of opportunity for any real estate investors out there. And North Aurora, I think, doesn't have quite the same just wow factor that areas like Southshore and Tallyn's Reach have, but there is definitely a value to being in the north part of Aurora because you are that much closer and centralized to a lot of the area surrounding it, including going to downtown Denver, which would be just a little west of there. The third part of Aurora that I want to share is Northeast Aurora, so going a little bit east from where we've just been talking about, and this would be areas like Aurora Highlands and also Painted Prairie. Seeing a ton of new development in this area, lots of new construction homes, lots of opportunities if you guys are considering a new construction home. I think this is part of the Denver area that has the most out there, lots to choose from. And another big benefit is it's closer to DIA. So maybe somebody that's looking for that easy access, that convenience of being only maybe 15 to 20 minutes away from the airport, this northeast portion of Aurora might be your best bet. And then last but not least, the fourth part of Aurora that I want to share is just Central Aurora. And this is kind of encompassing that Havana Street that I mentioned earlier, where there's a ton of the ethnic food options available. So if this is a part of Aurora that you haven't spent much time in, and maybe even if you're not that serious about that part of Aurora for accommodations or for living, it still is definitely worth driving through just to grab lunch at a new spot, something that maybe you've never tried before. So now that you have those 4 areas that I kind of categorize as the main 4 for Aurora, I also just want to share briefly a little bit more on real estate, specifically just what you can expect to find in each of these. And as I said, Aurora is huge. It's over 164 square miles, so massive, almost 400,000 residents. So because of all that, there's a lot of options for real estate and for housing. There's definitely a lot of affordable and move-in ready options available, usually those new construction home communities. And a lot of the time when you see statistics for different areas around Denver, these parts of Aurora have actually the most affordable of anywhere in the entire city of Denver. So if you are in a bit of a price point or a budget that you really don't want to go above, there's a good chance that Aurora could be where a lot of the homes are located that you might find intriguing. I'm seeing right now a lot of updated move-in ready homes. Most of these are even brand new for in that low $500,000 range. So obviously that's still a very pretty penny, but that would be an example of some homes that in other parts of Denver, like maybe Golden or areas out west, that same exact home could be, maybe another $200,000 to $300,000 more expensive. Maybe a 2,500 square foot home in Aurora at $500,000 could end up being $700,000 or $800,000 out in Golden, or maybe even just west of Aurora in southwest Littleton area. So big differences when it comes to just the price point of homes, and definitely some good deals out there in Aurora. There are some more established neighborhoods, but as I said, a lot of Aurora is going to be these newer built communities, especially just when it comes to the areas that are the most popular right now and seeing the most interest with buyers. So with that being said, the 3 kind of master plan communities that I think are worth sharing. First off is Southshore, which I shared a little bit about earlier with, but definitely look into Southshore. And number 2 is Painted Prairie. Painted Prairie is a 640-acre, very, very nice development. It was built very recently, only in about 2020, and it already has, when I looked the other day, I think they had over 900 families already living in this area. So we have Southshore, we have Painted Prairie, and then the third one for these master plan communities in Aurora is a new one called Aurora Highlands. And this one is still in progress, but it is massive. All in, they're expecting about 12,500 planned homes. They're actually gonna have 12 parks, 4 schools, and I've even heard them tease that there'll be a beach club built out once it's all said and done. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that development over the next couple of years.